moment you want the truth, as badly as you just now wanted air, you'll find it. We can show you the truth, but you have to want it.
Show me. I want to know the truth.
You've got to see this incredible video we just came across. It's out of Russia in Siberia, and what you're about to see is the entire roof actually being blown off of a building. Look at this. How dangerous is that? And amazingly here, nobody was walking down there. Nobody got hurt. No injuries, no deaths, or anything like that. A couple of things to take out of this video. First of all, as you get higher up in the atmosphere, the wind is usually a little bit stronger. Also, the more surface area you have on something, the easier the wind can blow it down. Now, look, I would eyeball this wind at probably about 40 to 60 miles an hour. Yes, it's a sustained wind, and yes, that's probably enough to do a pretty good amount of damage. But once the edge of that roof just started to peel up a little bit, let's run this back one more time so you can see it. All right, so watch this. You start to see just the very edge get pulled up, and all of a sudden the wind can affect that entire surface, and then the whole thing blows down. I'm still in shock that nobody was down there, nobody got hurt, but man, the power of Mother Nature, is that incredible or what?
These images are just incredible. So Public Works crews actually just removed a huge piece of metal roofing from all the way up in that tree. It's down here on the ground now. Look at how massive that is. That's how strong the winds are. And I want to take you guys over here to take a look at this home over here. So the roof was completely blown off of this. This home is considered a total loss. So crews have been out here. You can see them over from Pasco County, have been cutting pieces of this rubber roofing and all of these pieces of metal and stacking them up, waiting for Public Works crews. But they aren't the only ones that are helping out. A bunch of the neighbors here are also making sure to help clean up.
People that live in here, they know everybody, and they're going to help each other out when they can.
This is really what a disaster, a localized disaster, is all about. It's community helping community.
And today the Red Cross was out here eventually helping people get through the worst of the damage. But most incredibly, the Red Cross didn't actually have to give out any money or hand out shelters to anybody. And that's because the neighbors were so great about providing all of that shelter just for their friends and family. Now back out here live again, Public Works crews are out here. They will be out here for the remainder of the night trying to help clean up this damage. But as for the people here, there's still many that are still out of their homes tonight.
And Lauren, we're certainly feeling for all of those people. Glad to hear, though, the neighbors are really coming together, though. What is next for all the people who still have a lot of work to do, probably a lot of questions, too? What's next for them?
There are so many questions tonight, so they still don't have a dollar amount on all of the damage here. We still have to figure out who has had insurance on their homes, who has not, so they would have to file claims. And also, it's just when they can actually get back into their homes. So while we said that the Red Cross hasn't, had to hand out any shelter, they may be able to do so at a later date if that is needed. But until then, they're just staying with friends, and they say they're just grateful to be alive. Back to you.
People on the Big Island tonight are cleaning up after the storm damaged their property. Alex Serbol continues our coverage. Alex?
Aloha, Joe. Viewers sent us several pictures of the damage through our reported feature on our website. One resident tells me she believes the damage on her property was worse than Tropical Storm Iselle. Water gushing down Highway 19 outside Pepeakeo on the Big Island, forcing drivers to stop, trapping some for at least 45 minutes. Also on the Big Island, storm damage in Papaico.
If you look on the floor, you can see pieces of our greenhouse roof.
Large chunks of a greenhouse blew into this bathroom. The wind blew out the screens on several windows and left a lot of debris on the floor. Here's a different view showing a big hole in the greenhouse roof and damage to more property.
I think it's worse than Iselle because in Iselle we lost part of our greenhouse roof as well, and we had replaced probably half of the greenhouse roof, but it was the older half and the vent system.
Residents tell me the crashing and smashing was so hard, they thought it was a tornado. The National Weather Service says there was a strong cell over Papaico this afternoon that also caused a waterspout seen from the Hilo airport. but no tornado.
This has been a surprisingly dynamic system in what has been a really quiet winter.
There was also lightning strikes and clusters of thunderstorms throughout the islands that are now moving offshore throughout the night. And meteorologists say this storm put a little dent in the drought. Now, if this is the last storm of the season, we could have a very dry summer. Alex Serval, KHON 2 News.
Officials say a massive landslide could swallow a central Washington state neighborhood at any moment. Residents in the Whispering Ridge neighborhood of Chelan County have been asked to evacuate. Experts say the land is so unstable it could give way without warning. Record rainfall has the ground more saturated than it's been in decades. And recent storms and snowmelt aren't helping things. Water and power to the neighborhood have been turned off. 2 homes have already been deemed too dangerous to live in. Still, some residents are holding out and refusing to leave.
Of the world, but right now there's a lot less fishing and a lot more concern about what's happening to their valuable and vulnerable ecosystem. If you walk up and down Indian River Lagoon, you will see this. Thousands of dead fish belly up in the water. There are several different factors going into play here. One is the state received about triple their average rainfall for the month of January. All of that rainwater and runoff has gone straight into the rivers and the lagoon. Not to mention, because of El Nino, temperatures were warmer than normal, allowing for a toxic algae bloom and brown tide to take over. The algae bloom depletes the oxygen from the water, in turn killing the fish, and has also killed more than half the lagoon's seagrass. The Florida Fish and Wildlife Research Institute says the fish kills happen all the time, all over the state, but this one is massive. Farther south, there's another problem. Lake Okeechobee is the highest it's been in 10 years. So right now, the Army Corps of Engineers is draining it. Billions of gallons of fresh water pouring out of Lake Okeechobee. This brackish water affecting the salinity of all the estuaries. The Army Corps of Engineers says that they are backing off to a safer discharge. But if you ask the fishermen in the area, they say it's too little, too late.
Here in the Live Center, we're continuing to follow the story of the dead whale found at Torrey Pines at State Beach. Now, we blurred part of this image. It's a little graphic with the whale being lifted on a forklift here. We also have a live picture from the ground from our 10 News breaking news tracker, where you can see the whale there is cordoned off so that people don't get too close to it. Now, Sky 10 was over the whale about 20 minutes ago, where you can see people looking at the whale from a distance there at the bottom part of your screen. Now, the whale was found about a mile south of the State Reserve information booth. It was moved closer to the information booth, and we have learned that the whale will be brought to the landfill tomorrow.
This is a shelter of an entirely different kind, the Pacific Marine Mammal Center in Laguna Beach. Staff here are tending to seal and sea lion pups found stranded, abandoned, and starving.
The warmer water out there has forced certain types of fish that seals and sea lions like to eat into colder parts of the Pacific. And that means it's tough for marine mammals to feed themselves, let alone nourish their young.
There have been thousands of animals rescued, but thousands more died at sea.
I'm seeing a lot of the pups coming in underweight in record numbers. They're all emaciated, they're all coming in with a lot of parasites.
It's heartbreaking. They are skin and bones. They're extremely lethargic, so our effort is spent on rehydrating them, creating fish smoothies that have medications and electrolytes in it to bring them back.
Helpless creatures, both human and animal, at the mercy of El Nino. Rob Reynolds, Al Jazeera, Santa Monica, California.
Fiddler is the Grand Chief of the Anishinaabe Nation that represents Saskatchewan. He's going to be part of today's meeting, and he joins me now from Thunder Bay, Ontario. Thank you for taking the time to speak with us, sir, today. Grand Chief Fiddler, I want to start by asking what you are hoping to learn, first of all, from this meeting today.
I think we just want to get more information on what's exactly happening in Saskatchewan, and we're looking forward to hearing from the medical team later on this afternoon.
From what you're hearing, do you sense that they're any closer to figuring out exactly what is causing these rashes and skin lesions?
I think right now they're just trying to determine who else needs medical attention, and from what we're hearing, that there may be more children that may be required to be evacuated from the community in the coming days.
Well, what is happening to those who are affected by this mysterious rash right now? You say more may be affected. I gather some had been taken to hospitals or to other communities. What's the latest you're hearing on that?
Well, the initial evacuations that were made over the weekend and on Monday, those children were sent to Timmins, and depending on the number of children that may require further treatment, we may need to look at other centers, including Kingston and possibly Toronto.
We, as you know, we don't know yet the exact cause of this mysterious rash and the lesions. We know the health minister, Jane Philpott, says the water in the community is not to blame, but I gather you disagree, that you say that that can't be ruled out as a possible cause. Can you tell me more about that?
Well, I don't think we can rule out anything at this point. I think almost all the community members, from what we've heard through their leadership, they do not trust their water source even to bathe or do their laundry, never mind drinking it. So I think what we're asking for and what they're saying is that they want an outside independent inspection team to come in to examine their water treatment plant and to test the quality of their water.
Certainly, as a parent, we know that when your child is sick, it's always agonizing. But when your child is sick and you don't know exactly what's causing it, I can't imagine how stressful that must be. What are you hearing from the people of Saskatchewan yourself?
Well, that was my first immediate reaction when I saw the pictures coming out from Cache over the weekend, and we made arrangements right away to send a plane up there to get those children out, and knowing that there may be more that may be at risk, that's why we're having these conference calls to ensure that we, that the children that need medical attention are getting it on a timely basis, and that we're going to have another call this afternoon to hear from the medical team that's on the ground right now.
What are you hearing from the people there? Is there a sense of frustration, or is there a sense of fear because the source is at present unknown?
Well, frustration for sure. I mean, this has been a long-standing issue for Saskatchewan, and the fact that they've raised this issue time and time again, and they're still experiencing the health crisis of their children is definitely frustrating for the parents, and I think we begin to get to the bottom of what's going on and to work with the community to develop some long-term solutions for the future.
Here, those glass factories are demanding clean air.
Yeah, coalitions have been formed. People have rallied together around that common cause. Some are even moving. Here's our Cole Miller now with more.
From the streets of downtown, confronting DEQ leaders,
Build, treat, or bleed.
Protesting along Powell, and coming face to face with Bullseye.
We want you to run a model business that Portland can be proud of.
Brittany Hamlin has been around for all of it.
I try to do as much as I can.
I caught up with her today at her southeast Portland home, just blocks away from the glass factory.
We just made, plans to move out.
A month ago, Coin6 tested her family's soil, where arsenic and lead were both detected.
All I wanted was my children to have good, clean air. And then, they gave us chromium and cadmium and arsenic and nickel.
We demand that you do your job.
When all of this came to light, crowds packed into Cleveland High with their concerns. It was the first of many public meetings.
This is new information, and it's hard to hear. We've got a health concern.
Those concerns then made their way to Salem.
I open my door, and I breathe regular, nasty stench.
State lawmakers responding.
Obviously, the regulations that we have in place to accommodate industry and pollution, they're going to need to be examined.
More than a month ago, I ran into Bob Tuzignot.
I think it might be a grave concern.
I went back to his place today, right near Cleveland High.
I've been here for 40 years.
He tells me he's already made a call into his doctor.
We both have appointments to have our blood tested and the urine test.
And while he does feel for the owner of Bullseye,
it sounds like he was doing basically everything that he was supposed to with the DEQ.
He's pointing fingers elsewhere.
I think our local government is corrupt, period.
Wayne Hadley shares a similar view.
I think it woke the people up. I don't know if it really woke the city up.
He, too, has lived near Bullseye for more than 40 years.
There's other industries around that are polluting the air big time.
And while he doesn't think local government is doing its job, he also has his own take on this whole thing.
There's been a lot of panic and stuff, mostly, I think, news hype. And I've grown gardens. I'm not dead. I'm 71. I'm not dead.
And we're glad to hear that. No matter which side you're on, though, a conversation has started. There's no denying that, and it will continue. It's a conversation many hope leads to change.
I'm really proud of the community. I'm really proud of everybody who works really hard.
They've turned to social media, especially Facebook, creating a couple of groups even, the South Portland Air Quality and the East Side Portland Air Coalition. That group has even put together an interactive map where people who have been tested can post their results, gives people a better idea of what's going on around them.
Holy. In between strikes of lightning, it was impossible to miss the tornadic storms that barreled through northern Texas. The powerful system produced a torrential hailstorm in Plano. Oh my God. Hailstones the size of golf balls battered thousands of homes.
This fell in about 1 minute. Never seen anything like it in my life.
Look at the water. It's coming up toward the house. Oh my gosh.
Pounding rain and winds topping 45 miles per hour knocked out power to more than 5,000 people. The same system is dumping snow from the Rockies to the Great Lakes. There were blizzard conditions in Colorado, where some places saw more than 20 inches on Wednesday. The slick roads led to spinouts like this one in Denver. Hundreds of cars and trucks faced whiteout conditions and traffic that had some drivers stuck for hours. Denver International Airport was forced to shut down for only the third time in its history. More than 1,300 flights were canceled. At one point, close to 300,000 people there lost power.
Study, make art, start a business, even have my own home and family. But I am not considered a legal person.
Sophia is capable of natural facial expressions. She has cameras in her eyes and algorithms which allow her to see faces. I think that the artificial intelligence will evolve to the point where they will truly be our friends. Do you want to destroy humans? Please say no.
Okay, I will destroy humans.
So that was Sophia. She's being dubbed as the hot robot of the future, who is not only going to be helping you raise your kids, but she'll also be your lovely personal assistant. And her creator says that she and her ilk will indeed be walking amongst us within the next few decades. And they'll be pretty indistinguishable from other human beings. So cannot wait. And obviously they're very willing to destroy humanity at the whims of their creator. And this is of course why it's so important that we make sure these developers do not give robots this function to kill humans or destroy humanity, because they're willing to do it with a little smile on their face. But of course, it's already too late to stop the robots from taking our jobs. One restaurant in China has already employed a robot. They've swapped out a human waiter for a robot counterpart. And this guy uses a battery, and he's capable of serving diners at a restaurant for up to 8 hours. He can take customers their food and their drinks. He uses sensors and navigation hardware, and he doesn't even spill anything. And better yet, he doesn't require any wages or even a tip. So of course, that's really good for restaurant owners and people that are visiting these restaurants, but it's not good for people who are actually looking for a job.
Passengers run for their lives at Belgium's Zaventem airport. Screams and smoke fill the terminal after 2 explosions tear through the departure lounge, turning the airport into a scene of devastation and death. Outside, more scenes of panic as passengers and airport staff flee in the chaos.
I heard an explosion. That was the first bomb. And when we came out of the elevator, on that moment, the second bomb exploded, and then we saw doors flying, glass ceiling coming down.
I hear an explosion, and all the ceilings is going down. And then I just go under the sink, and then the second explosion went, and then everything is black. And I see, when I go out, I see a lot of people with blood.
Belgian authorities say at least one of the 2 airport explosions was a suicide bombing. Police also detonated a possible bomb belt they found at the airport. About an hour after the attack at the airport, across town, another explosion. This blast underground as a bomb at a metro station strikes the heart of the city, near the headquarters of the EU. Passengers left in the dark walk along the tracks to safety, the injured treated on the side of the road. Even veteran emergency workers are horrified.
I can't explain. It looked like war. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. It's really hard. I'm an old firefighter. I have almost 45 years of service, and it's the first time I see something so terrible.
Belgium's Prime Minister called it a dark day for his country.
We
feared a terrorist attack would happen, and this is what happened. In Zaventem and in a metro station in Brussels, terrorists have committed murder.
Belgium is now on the highest state of alert as authorities hit the streets looking for those responsible for Tuesday's carnage and who might launch more attacks.
The coordinated bombings killed at least 31 people. 250 were wounded, including some Americans. ISIS claimed responsibility and warned today that there will be more, quote, dark days.
Belgian police released this photograph of 3 suspects. Look at the 2 on the left, casually pushing luggage, which officials believe were loaded with explosives. They're wearing only 1 glove each, possibly to conceal a detonator. Both men were killed in the attacks. The third man, in the hat, has vanished. According to police, he left his luggage and is on the run. Another bomb was found, which police detonated by a controlled explosion. This afternoon, security forces conducted raids in the Brussels neighborhood of Schaerbeek and found 2 more explosive devices containing nails as well as chemicals and an ISIS flag. One of the doctors who dealt with the worst of the injuries said he hadn't seen any bullet wounds, only injuries caused by the blasts. The attacks in Belgium come just 4 days after Salah Abdeslam was caught in a dramatic police shootout in Brussels. One of the 10 Paris attackers, Abdeslam was the only one to survive the police dragnet and evade capture for 4 months.
House will come to order. Members will take their seats.
I was denied a college education just because I'm transgender. I don't mean to be insensitive to some people that maybe have suffered sexual assaults and are fearful, but I have a right to be safe too. I have a right to be safe too.
You can check this. There have been 0 reported cases in history of men pretending to be transgender in order to do inappropriate things in women's restrooms. It just doesn't happen. The reality is that we just need to use the restroom, and it's sometimes like just not safe. In fact, it's almost always not safe.
I can't use the men's room. I won't go back to the men's room. It is unsafe for me there. People like me die there every day. Not the least of say, it freaks people out when I go to the men's room. Would you want to go to the men's room with me? I don't think so.
Girls like me should never be forced to undress or shower in the presence of boys. I would imagine being born a boy, but thinking you're a girl is very scary and confusing. But being a teenage girl is confusing too. What about my rights to privacy and wishes to not be exposed to young males changing and showering beside me?
It's common sense that boys should go to the boys' room and girls should go to the girls' room. I believe that God got it right in Genesis 5:2 when he said that he created them male and female.
We present a novel real-time facial reenactment method that works with any commodity webcam. Since our method only uses RGB data for both the source and target actor, we are able to manipulate YouTube videos in real time. Here we demonstrate our method in a live setup. On the right, a source actor is captured with a standard webcam. This input drives the animation of the face in the video shown on the monitor to the left. A significant difference to previous methods is the re-rendering of the mouth interior. To this end, we resynthesize the mouth interior of the target actor using video footage from the training sequence based on temporal and photometric similarity. As we can see, we are able to generate a realistic and convincing reenactment result. Here we show a close-up of the footage from the previous live reenactment. The input video stream is shown on the left. Note that the target actor is re-rendered in a neutral pose. On the right, we can see the final output of our method. Our system reconstructs and tracks both source and target actors using a dense photometric energy minimization. Using a novel subspace deformation transfer technique, we transfer the expressions from the source to the target actor. This allows us to obtain a modified face template of the target actor according to the expressions of the source actor. We now re-render the modified face on top of the target sequence in order to replace the original facial expressions. Here we show additional live sequences where we reenact various YouTube videos. In order to evaluate our approach, we perform a cross-validation based on optical flow. To this end, we retrieve mouth interiors from the first half of the video. The second half is used for evaluation queries. As we can see, our re-rendering error is very low. Our method introduces a new RGB face tracking pipeline, which we compare against state-of-the-art real-time face tracking methods. Here we show a comparison against Cao et al. And Tees et al. Note that Tees et al. Is based on RGBD data, whereas Cao et al. And our method require only RGB input. Here we show another tracking comparison to FaceShift 2014, which relies on RGBD data. Although our method is RGB only, we achieve similar tracking quality. In contrast to real-time tracking methods, we also compare against the offline tracking algorithm of Shi et al. Note that Shi et al. Perform additional geometric refinement using shading cues. We now compare our approach against previous reenactment approaches. Here we show the scenario of a translator animating another person. Note that our approach runs in real time, while Garrido et al. Works offline. Here we show a comparison to Tees et al. Who rely on RGBD data. Both methods produce similar reenactment results. However, note that Tees et al. Uses a geometric teeth proxy, which leads to artificially shaped mouth regions. Thank you for watching.
For God will bring every deed into judgment, Ben Judah, including every hidden thing, whether it is good or evil. I, the Lord, search the heart. I test the mind, and I will give every man according to his ways and according to the things he has done.
By the deeds of the law, no flesh shall be justified in his sight. For by grace you are saved, through faith. This is not for yourselves. It is the gift of God.
Be reconciled to God. God made him who had no sin to be sin for us, so that in him we might become the righteousness of God.
For God so loved the world that he gave his one and only Son, that whoever believes in him will not perish, but have everlasting life. For God did not send his Son into the world to condemn the world, but to save the world through him. He who believes in the Son is not condemned, but he who does not believe is condemned already, because he has not believed in the name of the only begotten Son of God.
Repent. Jesus is coming.
Don't throw your life away. Give it to Jesus while there's still time, please.
And he will hold us accountable. Time is running out. against God, like I have, he calls us to love and obey him in everything we do. What we do in front of people, what we do in secret, even down to what we think. God loves you. 2,000 years ago, he proved that. God became a man, Jesus Christ, and he suffered and died on the cross to save you. He literally died to take your punishment and my punishment upon himself so that we could be forgiven and set free. When Jesus rose from the dead and he ascended to heaven, he defeated death and hell, and he's offering you and I eternal life. God can do anything. If you are willing, God can save you. Confess your sins and turn away from them. And put your faith in Jesus Christ.
Jesus, if it's not too late, forgive me for my sins.
Jesus is King. Jesus is King. He is Lord forever.